My name's Gavin, this is Genre Books, and today is number 17 of my bookshelf, Exploration, Excavations. A mixed bag again today, some chunky fantasy, some literary fiction, science fiction obviously as well, and starting with one of the more curious items in the collection, which is Andre Breton, or Eluard, and Phillipe Soupault's The Automatic Message. So this is the transcription collection of some of the early surrealist experiments in automatic writing. We follow that up with Ernest Bramah and The Wallet of Kai Lung, which is a collection of stories, one of about 3 or 4 collections of Kai Lung that Bramah produced. I will, on this channel, from time to time, sing the praises of Jonathan Coe, and I will continue to sing them here with A Touch of Love, his second novel. I have 3 works by this next author, and as far as fantasy goes, this is pretty much as chunky as it gets. This is The Dragonbone Chair by Tad Williams, the first volume of the book of Memory, Sorrow and Thorn. I also have book 3, Siege, and book 2, Storm. So I am missing one. This next is a book I have read, and I have only vague memories of it. I think I was probably about 17 when I read this. Very excited in the first flush, having just read Catch-22. I wanted to see what else Joseph Heller had produced, and it was this. Something Happened. Terry Brooks and Elf Queen of Shannara. I don't know where this comes in the Shannara tale. I have only read the first of the Shannara books, but I'm interested enough to continue and maybe complete this series. So good to have this one ready. Telegraph Avenue from Michael Chabon. A Californian Middlemarch set to the funky beats of classic vinyl soul jazz. I'm not sure that's selling it to me in the way I think it does, but I'll be interested to read it nonetheless. The Hollow Crown by Dan Jones. I'm probably more interested to read this end of the year than I was at the beginning, having during September read all of Shakespeare's histories. David Lodge and Nice Work. I've seen the television adaptation of this. I have a memory of watching it anyway. It is a comedic condition of England novel from the mid-80s. Edwardian espionage next, and The Riddle of the Sands by Erskine Childers. More Jonathan Coe now, and The Accidental Woman, which I have read, and I remember I read this on a coach trip from Bath to Norwich in a single sitting where I got up once at Victoria Station. And his third novel, The Dwarves of Death, and I don't know what number novel, Mr. Wilder and Me. More Edwardian espionage, The Secret Agent by Joseph Conrad. Jack L. Chalker now, and 2 of the books from his sprawling Well of Souls series. Here is Echoes of the Well of Souls and Gods of the Well of Souls. A book I picked up fairly recently in Canterbury, and book 2 of a series of 5. This is The Dragon by Jane Gaskell. 2 books from Virago, Modern Classics, and both by Angela Carter. So from 1977, although this is obviously a more modern reprint, The Passion of New Eve, and the Virago Book of Fairy Tales. A little bit of history now, and Russia in the century leading up to the Russian Revolution. This is Edward Crankshaw's The Shadow of the Winter Palace. John Fowles, not often spoken about these days, or maybe just not spoken about on BookTube. But this is the Aristos, or the Aristos, the personal philosophy of John Fowles. Penguin Classics, Dickens, Martin Chuzzlewit, nearly 900 pages of it. More Terry Brooks now. The Elfstones of Shannara, so the sequel to the Shannara book that I have read. And The Wish Song of Shannara. It's getting a bit of a tongue twister there, which is the conclusion of the first trilogy. The second book in the second trilogy, I think, The Druid of Shannara. Not second trilogy, second series, because this is book 4 of that same series, The Talismans of Shannara. And the prequel to all of that, The First King of Shannara. And Terry Brooks' book that has nothing to do with Shannara, The Tangle Box. A Pelican book now, and Hinduism, K.M. Sen. So a introduction primer to that world religion. And, of course, follow that up with some military sci-fi. So David Weber, Timothy Zahn, and Thomas Pope. A Call to Vengeance, part of Weber's Honorverse. And following up from military sci-fi with fairy tales, and the complete fairy tales of the Brothers Grimm. And the complete fairy tales of Hans Christian Andersen. In the home stretch now, and absolutely no glimmer of a theme in this week's selection of books. Here is a science fiction anthology, No Room for Man, so 13 stories about overpopulation, and a couple of articles or essays as well. But the stories are by Brian Aldiss, J.G. Ballard, James Blish, Theodore R. Cogswell, Paul R. Ehrlich, George Guthbridge, Harry Harrison, C.M. Kornbluth, Maggie Nadler, Frederick Pohl, Frank M. Robinson, Robert Silverberg, and William Walling. The third in a science fiction series from Edgar Pangborn. I do have the other two, which is Davy and the Company of Glory. This is West of the Sun. John Wyndham, one I've not read, so ready for Winter of Wyndham this year. Web. The Moon and the Face by Patricia A. McKillip, the sequel to Moonflash. And 2 more books in that Jane Gaskell Atlan series. This is book 4, The City, and book 3, Atlan. More Angela Carter, and one I don't think I've read. Maybe I've read it. I think I've read it. I don't know. I'll have to reread it or read it. It's The Magic Toy Shop. 2 from Italo Calvino, a very slender work here, Mr. Palomar. And one that is anything but slim. This is Italian Folk Tales. Gordon R. Dixon and The Forever Man. The 4th of E. Doc Smith's Skylark series. This is Skylark Duquesne. A book I know that I've shown on this channel before, but yes, this is a cover that bears showing again, as it is so very disco. Harry Harrison, Star Smashers of the Galaxy Rangers. God help me, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this man's name, but it's Wu Cheng and Monkey. Caledon of the Mists by Deborah Turner Harris. A book that gets mentioned an awful lot by people who are looking to write something. This is Joseph Campbell's The Hero with 1,000 Faces. And finally, for today, an all-time classic, George Eliot's Middlemarch. But that's it for this week. Thank you for your continued indulgence as each week's selection becomes more and more fragmented and disparate. But Until next time.